Imagine paying hundreds of dollars in fines for the tiniest mistake. Leaving your trash can out just 1 minute past 9 a.m., while the very person imposing those fines is living off your own community's funds. That was my life when I moved into a quiet suburban neighborhood and met Todd, the HOA president who loved power but hated responsibility. I tried diplomacy at first. My fence was the wrong shade of beige because the approved paint was sold out. So I explained, showed my receipt, begged for mercy, only to see a $500 fine slapped on my account. Todd smiled and said, "Rules are rules." In that moment, something inside me snapped. I decided I would bring him down, not with shouting or public shaming, but methodically, legally, and in a way he'd never recover from. Step 1. Become the insider. I ran for the HOA board under the guise of a community-minded newcomer. For 2 years, I attended every meeting, silent, observant, notebook in hand. I noted the stale smell of reheated coffee, the squeak of folding chairs, the nervous glance Todd gave whenever someone asked a tough question. He bulldozed dissent by drowning it in paperwork, approved votes only when his allies were present, and magically lost any documents that challenged him. I logged every rule he enforced on others and every rule he conveniently ignored for himself, like building a taller fence than city code allowed, or letting his trash piles linger on the curb indefinitely. I kept my head low, became the friendly face he underestimated, and he took the bait. Step 2. Follow the money. HOA dues in our neighborhood were outrageously high, yet the pool was shut half the summer and the landscaping looked like it hadn't been touched in months. I requested the annual budget at a meeting. Todd laughed and said, "Don't worry, I'm on top of it." Weeks passed with no response to my formal records request. That's when I started talking to neighbors. One neighbor reported seeing Todd's children swimming in the closed community pool. Another swore he watched a brand new patio being built on Todd's house with HOA funds. Over a dozen residents told me they'd asked for financial records and were stonewalled. With these whispers fueling me, I pressed the issue and forced Todd, under our covenants, to hand over the documents. Step 3. Build the case. What Todd gave me was a tangled mess: missing invoices, vague line items, unexplained administrative fees. A $15,000 landscaping charge to a company that didn't exist. Thousands more labeled as miscellaneous costs. I cross-checked bank statements against public contractor records. I discovered he'd inflated contractor bills, pocketed the difference, and split profits with his friend, the very contractor hired to maintain the community. I compiled spreadsheets, printed torn receipts, gathered sworn statements from neighbors. Every shredded document, every shady transaction went into a single dossier, my own blueprint to topple a tyrant. Step 4. The coup. I spent weeks knocking on doors, telling neighbors only that something big was coming. I didn't give details, just enough to spark curiosity and outrage. On the night of the annual meeting, every seat was filled, the room buzzing with anticipation. Todd stood at the podium, chest puffed, ready to deliver his usual self-congratulatory speech. "It's been difficult, but I've sacrificed so much for this community." "Todd," I said, voice steady, "could you explain these discrepancies?" I handed everyone a copy of my report. The room went silent, then exploded into whispers, then outright shouts. Todd's face drained of color as residents leaned in, reading detailed proof of his theft and mismanagement. When I called for a vote to remove him, it was unanimous. In minutes, the man who'd ruled with an iron fist was stripped of his title. Step 5. The final blow. We hired an independent auditor who confirmed over $50,000 missing and tens of thousands more misallocated. Police reports were filed, a civil suit launched. Todd was forced to sell his home to repay what he'd stolen. His contractor accomplice was banned from doing business in the county. Within months, the community had restructured. Term limits, multiple sign-offs on expenses, and an online portal giving every homeowner instant access to budgets and meeting minutes. Today, when I drive past Todd's old house, now owned by a lovely family, the pool is open, the landscaping lush, and HOA fees are lower than ever. Justice wasn't just served, it was plated, garnished, and enjoyed by every neighbor who demanded accountability. This story shows that the sharpest weapon against abuse of power is well-organized information and community solidarity. Complaining alone won't topple a tyrant. You have to act smartly, methodically, and with unwavering resolve. If you've ever witnessed or enacted a perfectly justified revenge, share it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a story where justice triumphs. Until next time, remember, with the right plan, even the smallest voice can take down a giant.